Hello, my friends. This is Socialist Ilme. Welcome to Fred Hampton Leftist. I took a few days off from streaming. There is plenty to talk about. This stream pretty much be me ripping Israel to shreds. I have plenty to say. You guys notice that uh, I'm alone today, and anyone who's OG and people who follow my channel for a long time. I'm gonna tweet this out so people know I'm live. People who follow my channel, the Socialist MMA channel, and my old show on Twitch, you guys know I actually prefer doing it this way. Because there are a lot of, like, political nerd politics that I like to follow that if I invite a guest on, they may not be, like, well read on those issues. So I love to, like, have these solo streams, especially now with the Israel-Gaza situation. This stream would be us breaking this down. And there's a great article that we're going to read together that kind of breaks down the historical reference when it comes to Israel Palestine. Hello, Lisa, Leroy. It's me today, so I'm looking forward to talking to you guys in the stream and the chat. If you guys have any comments, any questions, anything you want to share with us today, this is a very interactive stream that we're going to do today. I still haven't tweeted out yet either. Live now. Ripping Israel to shreds. Because we're going to do that too. There's so much to follow and so much to cover. A lot of people that used to follow my old Twitch page, they know I used to love engaging with the chat, seeing what you guys are following as well. Let me know how the stream is running. Hopefully everything's running smooth. Let me know if you guys can hear me and everything. Let me tweet this out. Joe Biden is funding. Joe Biden funds genocide. Live now on FHL, breaking down how Joe Biden funds genocide. There we go. I think that's and Israeli war crimes. Let me know if you guys in the chat. Say what's up. We just now getting started. No Twitch stream. Not today. No Twitch stream today. We will just be on YouTube today. Assidious MG over here. Thank you guys. Just let me know how the stream quality is going. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a Twitch YouTube set up, but I don't like using the other streaming software they use. So for now, I'm gonna just be live on YouTube when I do my shows. So I saw this in the news too. Before I get into Israel Palestine, because obviously, like, the issue of police abolition is dear to my heart, and there's so many of these stories, man. Like, how can you follow all these? Let me share this with you guys. I didn't have a planned segment on this, but I want to comment on this. Andrew Brown. This is breaking today. Like, as I was preparing my stream here, North Carolina's DA says the police killing of Andrew Brown was justified. Actually, I'll let people know that, like, we're gonna discuss this because I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. And if you are watching on the YouTube side here, leave comments in chat how you feel about Israel Palestine. What's your thoughts on the direction the Biden administration is going and the conflict as a whole? Because I got a lot of things I want to break down. I got a lot to say on that. Breaking down the police killing Andrew. Correct. Be patient with you guys. Anyone who usually watch my old streams know when we get started, we just we kind of just shooting the shit. But I have some segments planned for you guys. Meg, what the fuck? You hating on Twitch now? No, I actually like Twitch more than YouTube. YouTube sucks. YouTube really sucks. But I have the dual streaming set up on my channel, the Socialist MMA, my Twitch channel. I don't have it set up on FHL yet. So eventually I would do that so I can go live on FHL and Twitch. And people who used to watch my old show, I'm gonna bring it back. I'm bringing. I'm thinking I'm gonna have like a nightly breakdown session, just like I'm doing right now, because we just now getting started with 5 minutes in. I'm glad everyone coming into the stream, but we got a lot of information to break down, and there's a lot of stuff that's happening as we speak that I want to cover. That's why I'm asking you guys, if you're in the chat and if you're watching, just share some information that you see that you want to share with, because we are a community here. Share new information so I can pull it up on the screen and we can learn more about this horrific human crisis that's going on in Israel, with their pretty much their ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. But also there's so many human rights violations to cover. I'm gonna get into that, but I was just covering Andrew Brown, and this is the point I was making on Twitter. Check this out. This is the story. Police killed Brown in the car while serving a warrant, and autopsy showed police shot him in the back of the head. And family lawyers say the video showed he did not drive towards deputies. So pretty much the body cam video indicts the police, right? Check this out. North Carolina DA says he will not release body cam video of the police killing of Andrew Brown. So my question to all the shit libs, to Democrats, to liberals, and to people who still push reform, what was the fucking point of the body cam reform if they can just refuse to release the video? Your reforms are still getting us killed. The reforms in Minneapolis, they'd have police reforms 6 years ago, 5 years before they killed George Floyd. They had a ban on chokeholds. Did that save Eric Gardner? Did that save all these people? It does not. Because how can you have a reform and expect this broken system to govern itself? You are advocating for reforms. You are advocating for giving cops more money, and then they will pocket that money, and they always do. So you got to put this body cam reform on them, and they say, "Fuck you, we just take it off." They can turn the body cam off. Then when we do get them on video, they can just not release the video. So what's the point of your reforms? This is why I'm an abolitionist. This is why I push for defund the police. Name me one liberal reform that they are seriously advocating for that the police cannot just overlook. Because who's gonna manage the reform? It's the same problem that Joe Biden having with ICE. Because they came in and we're gonna regulate ICE, a racist immigration system, right? How do you do that when the people in charge of regulating them are friends with them and they have the same ideology? DHS, they all domestic terrorist scum, responsible for human rights violation, and you expect them to govern ICE? Abolish ICE, that's the start, but we need abolish DHS, right? We got great comments coming in. Let me read some of these comments. Peter Griffin, good friend of the show. I really love his YouTube name. Biden is in the top 20 of top pro-Israel contributions. Yes. I wanted to cover that. This is why Biden is an Israel puppet, right? Let me see if I can find it here. But Biden is a puppet to Israel. I don't know if you guys can see this, but do you know who was the top recipient of cash from Israel? In 2020, it was Joe Biden. In 2016, it was Hillary Clinton. Do we really live in a democracy when our Democratic candidate can be chosen by Israel? And you guys talking about Russia getting involved in our election. You guys said Russia is getting involved in our democracy, but Israel is funding our Democratic candidate 2 times in a row. Kamala Harris was chosen as VP because she was extremely loyal to Israel. I played her speech on my show many times. Her speech she used to give at AIPAC. And people wonder why she was chosen as VP. That's why. Lisa says their reforms don't work. 100% on the money, Lisa. It just doesn't work. Joe is number one, a son with over 3 million. Yeah, I think good comments, Peter, because I think you're pretty much covering with what I have prepared here. And people are surprised with what is happening here. Joe Biden's like, pretty much I'm pretty much a Republican, guys. And then you guys were like, we give him a benefit of the doubt. Then Joe Biden get in office and govern like a Republican. You guys act surprised. They was open about what they was gonna do. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has been open their entire career on where they stand on the issue of Israel-Palestine. They are unhinged Zionists. And people got mad at me when I called people who was like anti-forced vote out. And they were like, what did I have to do with Israel-Palestine? Because Nancy Pelosi is a hardcore Zionist. And you guys was advocating for voting for her. You know why I didn't want Nancy Pelosi to be House Speaker? Because I factor that in. I factor the issue of Israel-Palestine when I make these decisions. When I decide not to vote for Joe Biden, I factor in Israel-Palestine. And now you have people that now they feeling guilty because they're like, oh, I should never vote for Joe Biden because I didn't know. Bro, how you not know? This is the stuff we was talking about. I tweeted in December. I was like, bro, you had Anthony Blinken, who is a hardcore Zionist, and who was straight up said he wanted to get into the UN Security Council so he can protect Israel from UN security probes, war crime probes. They were saying this in the media, in the open. Then I'm calling it out, and people was wondering why I'm coming up with this shit from. I'm like, bro, they're literally saying it. And then Joe Biden gets in, he sponsors multiple genocides, and people are like, oh, how can we see this coming? Joe Biden, this wasn't part of the deal. A well-known streamer said. Like, bro, how you not know this was going to happen? How you not know this was going to happen? Joe Biden hear brown people dying, and he's like, where do I sign up? I made this joke before, but find a partner who loves you the way that Joe Biden loves funding genocide. Anytime he's been in a position of power where he could do that, he was very happy about doing it. Matt said electoral politics is a scam. There was no lesser of two evils for the Palestinian people. So everyone you know who was making the lesser of two evils argument, they just didn't factor in the Palestinian people. I think that was a pretty good quote. Who claimed he was the lesser of two evils didn't even take them in Haitian. Well, I don't have to say that. Take them into consideration. You guys know, like, the only way we get viewers is like when I tweet. So we getting so throttled by the algorithm. That's the only time it happens. Yeah, ThinkPad 20 know who I was talking about. He did fundraise for Palestine, so I'm not gonna be mad at him. But it's like, bro, you guys are being let off a cliff by these people who was like, Joe Biden loves two evil. Like, bro, they didn't factor in Palestinian people, didn't factor in immigrants. Like, you guys know, in Joe Biden's first 100 days, he deported more Haitian immigrants than Donald Trump did in his entire first term. And then you got leaders of Black Lives Matter saying, we won when Biden won. If you're supportive of the Joe Biden administration, take Black Lives Matter out of your bio. I don't want you to wear our Black Lives Matter shirts, masks, because you don't believe in it. And Joe Biden and the U.S. Embassy tweet out, Haitians don't come here. Even though we are supportive of the fascists in the government that you guys are fleeing, we are responsible for this. Don't come here. That's the reality of neoliberalism. So when they use fascism as a way to shield neoliberalism, they're not attacking fascism. They think they are. They think they're going hard against fascism because they're like, oh, we got to support neoliberalism over fascism. No, you're not going hard on fascism. You're apologizing for neoliberalism. That's what you're doing. Because what ideology was responsible for 2.4 million people dying in Iraq? It was neoliberalism. What was the ideology that was responsible for the United States jailing 25% of the world's prison population? That's neoliberalism. Like, what is responsible for all these horrible actions? The CIA doing coups in South America. Operation Condor was done in the name of neoliberalism. So you're not attacking fascism by saying, "Oh, at least I prefer neoliberalism." You're not doing that. The only thing you're accomplishing is whitewashing the crime of neoliberals in the Democratic Party. There's a misconception that I don't like the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party didn't do enough for black people. That's not it. That's part of the reason why. But the reason why I hate the Democratic Party is not because what they didn't do for the black community. It's what they have done to the black community. Racial income inequality is high as it's ever been. Well, since the height of the civil rights movement. Why do you think that is? Joe Biden, responsible for the bankruptcy bill and make it harder for you to ease medical debt and student loan debt. He's responsible for the student loan debt crisis and the medical debt crisis. And who suffers the most from medical debt and student loan debt? Black Americans, despite us only being 13% of the population, we hold 33% of the country's medical debt. The highest percentage of student loans, we get charged the highest interest on student loans. These are policies of the Democratic Party. Bill Clinton, with the help of Joe Biden, pushing him and Reagan to the right, implemented welfare reform, which gutted welfare, which was a class warfare that affected mostly the Latino and African American communities. Are you going to get that analysis from a white streamer who say, "Oh, Joe Biden, the lesser two evils," because it doesn't affect you because you make $200,000 a year. You make $200,000 a year. You come from generational wealth, who wasn't harmed by the policy of the Democratic Party. So it's easy for you, as a white person, to be like, "Oh, Joe Biden, yeah, he's definitely the lesser two evils," without calculating the Palestinian people, without calculating the Haitian people, without calculating Haitian immigrants, without calculating the black community. By the way, Joe Biden is funding the military more, and the military was just caught polluting the black community. My question is, are you getting this analysis on these white streamers? When you look at their channels, do they talk about this? No. It's not a part of their analysis at all. It's just bullshit electoral politics. Oh, you see Marjorie Taylor Greene, who effectively has no power? Marjorie Taylor Greene says this. She has no power. Joe Manchin has done more to block the Biden agenda, than Marjorie Taylor Greene has. But if you look at her channel, all they talk about, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, like, bro, these people are not, it's the Democratic Party, it's the military industrial complex the Democratic Party is funding. These are the threat to my communities. When they have power, it makes sense to focus on them. But you have Joe Biden, you have Democratic Party that holds all branches of government, and they are governing just like Trump. But you guys are focused on fucking right-wingers who does nothing but help us, by the way. When you see Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene go on an unhinged rant, explain how black men deserve to die by the police, that helps us. Why do you think defund the police is so popular now? Why do you think so many people are against billionaires now? Because you have these idiot right-wingers thinking they're making a good point. They talk to millions of people, and they straight up advocating for forcing people to go back to work for starvation wages. And you think we can't beat them in the battle of ideas? Instead, you should be focused on taking down the neoliberal party consensus that is dominating Washington. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not doing shit to my community. Believe it or not. It's Joe Manchin, is the Democratic Party, it's people like Amy Klobuchar, who was complicit in being a pro-cop senator, the second most funded Democratic senator. So you're not talking about Amy Klobuchar, but you're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, whose district is like 70% red. So Marjorie Taylor Greene's failures is going to land on her constituency. Her constituency need to hold her accountable. You know who I'm worried about? I'm worried about the Amy Klobuchars, who's the second most funded senator by the police, who put pro-police policies, who put policies that make it easier for for Derek Chauvin to get off in the first place. These are the people who are threats to our communities, not the fucking boogeyman that you people keep making up for ratings. Do you think it's just a coincidence that the media start talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Soon Trump leaves the media? They need a new boogeyman. They are playing you like an idiot. Their ratings skyrocketed when they had Trump. Trump left. Now their ratings is plummeting. So they need someone to replace Trump. And that's who Marjorie Taylor Greene is. And you know I can rebuke her ideology all day. That's why I do when I'm attacking neoliberalism. When I attack neoliberalism, when leftists attack neoliberalism, we are inherently debunking Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson. Because whether they believe it or not, what they actually push is just another version of neoliberalism. So I am actually killing two birds with one stone by going after Biden, Kamala, and their ideology, because but despite the red blue bullshit game, that's the same ideology that Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene has. That's why they focus on stupid shit like Dr. Seuss and cancel culture. And all this stuff has nothing to do with policy. You know why they do nothing but talk about white identity politics? Because they don't disagree with the Democratic Party on the baseline of the issues. Joe Biden is forcing workers to die for capitalism. The same way that Donald Trump did. The same fucking rhetoric. We had Jen Psaki, which is Joe Biden's spokesperson, pretty much say, yeah, we gotta have workers go back to work for suitable work. I'm gonna cover that here soon. I didn't even get none of my stories. I've just been ranting and raving. What do you guys think? Am I right? Like, I want to hear from you guys. Because this is my breakdown, and now when I do these streams, I can actually articulate all of this instead of just tweeting, because people just read a tweet and they make all sort of assumptions. But that's my position on this. And that's why I kind of focus on exposing neoliberalism, because neoliberalism is complicit with the genocide in Palestine right now. So let's get actually into the stories here. Oh yeah, Rabbit Fufu, I agree with you there. He said no Marjorie Taylor Greene, but can we obsess over Matt Gaetz? This is I would love to rip on Matt Gaetz, actually. I would actually love to rip on Matt Gaetz, because it's very funny. You have dumb right wingers who push like Pizzagate and all these pedophile conspiracy theories, but meanwhile their boy is literally a pedophile and they don't give a fuck. I'll tweet that out. I'm trying to get some more people in the stream. I appreciate everyone that engaged so far. Make sure you leave a like and all that stuff, because once again the algorithm not going to help us. I'm gonna say funny how right wingers come up with Pizzagate and all these wacky conspiracies about elite pedophiles and sex criminals, but then they go to bat for Matt. I don't know how to spell his name. Let me see. Matt Gaetz. Okay, I see. I'm high key a dumbass, guys. I actually think the liberal crowd did a pretty good job going after Gaetz. Usually, like, whenever I see like Democrats go after Republicans, it's like so fucking cringe, man. I can't stand it. But they have been doing a pretty good job at getting Gaetz. I give them that. But it's so easy. And so like apparently he's like fucked. Yeah, Purple Philosophy says sorry, I thought I was sub to you, but just subbed. And apparently that's happening all the time. People begin to sub from us. I hear from that all the time. That's something that's a tool they use to silence lefty voices on YouTube. They just randomly unsub people. So I believe you when you say you thought you was sub. They probably just unsubbed you. But you have right wingers who push like Russiagate. I'm sorry, not Russiagate, but Pizzagate. All these ridiculous conspiracy theories. When it's like, bro, it's right in the open. Why are you guys making all these crazy conspiracy theories when you literally got Epstein inviting your boy Trump on his plane? And he doing the same thing to Bill Clinton. Now apparently Bill Gates was part of that too. So you guys whipping up all these conspiracy theories when the ruling class are out in the open already doing this. So what's the point of and at the end of the day, like when you look at Pizzagate, what they actually advocate for, it's just a partisan witch hunt, obviously, because they only use it against Democrats. So you're not going to get me apologizing for Clinton at all, because Hillary Clinton was definitely complicit in helping Bill Clinton be a predator to women. She was a giant part of intimidating them in the legal process. A lot of survivors that come out and said that Hillary Clinton she would throw her weight around to intimidate these people who had Bill Clinton accusations. So this is who Democrat Party is, that's who Hillary Clinton are. So I agree with you guys on that. But then you got Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump, who are obviously sex criminals. Apparently Donald Trump raped his like ex-wife. He was on Epstein's plane as well. And you don't think Donald Trump is a fucking pedo, like creep? Based on anything we've seen, him talking about he want to have sex with his daughter. You think he not? You think he's above Bill Clinton on the Epstein issue? Very, 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 very funny to me. You people in your fucking politician worship is so fucking pathetic. Like people literally think like Trump is above Bill Clinton morally. People think Joe Biden is above Donald Trump morally. People think Kamala Harris is above Marjorie Taylor Greene morally, right? They all the same. This is why I never had Trump derangement syndrome. The ruling class is filled with white collar criminals who get away with what they do because they own the fucking government. There are stories about how Joe Biden and his family enriched themselves using government. The same way Donald Trump has done. It's the same level of corruption. When you look at Donald Trump's sex crimes, same thing as Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo was like, oh, is that, well, I'm not doing not harassment. I'm making you feel uncomfortable. And it's not my responsibility to make sure you're not uncomfortable. And when he said that, I'm like, can you imagine if Donald Trump said that? The nonstop media coverage, the nonstop meltdown, if you had Donald Trump saying what Andrew Cuomo just said. He pretty much said it's not my responsibility to make sure you're not uncomfortable. And like that's literally the most misogynistic anti-sexual harassment rhetoric you can think of, because when they go through sexual harassment training in the workplace, that's quite literally the exact opposite of what they preach. It's upon us to make sure we don't make anyone in the office uncomfortable, whether you're a female or male. That's what they preach you. But meanwhile, he said the exact opposite, and he's coming from a position of power. And you want to pretend that Trump has the moral high ground over that guy? You want to pretend that these Zionists have the moral high ground over these people? I don't have a lot of patience for it. What they preach. Let me know how the streaming is going, everybody. Like in terms of like the sound quality, all that kind of stuff. So let's get into some more. Let's get into some Palestine stuff here, guys. I went on like the first 30 minutes where I was kind of ranting, but let's discuss Palestine. So free Palestine, Fred Hampton led to the live stream. And I also want to break down, I kind of made this point vaguely on our main show, but there has been a long-standing tradition of solidarity among Black leftists, African-American community, people of color, and the Palestinian people. We'll get into this. This is the update, right? If you ain't following Sarah, she's an amazing account on here, on Twitter. Israel has now bombed Gaza's biggest library, hospital roads, the Red Crescent building, hospitals and clinics, a refugee camp, homes and apartments, media agencies. They bombed doctors and paramedics. I mean, these are war crimes at the highest order. You say been committed by Israel that's being sponsored and apologized by our government. And yet people still fucking apologize for these parts. Like Biden blocked the UN ceasefire 3 times. Look at what Sarah is telling you guys. Bond media agencies, doctors, paramedics, refugee camps, entire Palestinian families have been wiped out. And then as this is going on, Joe Biden is giving Israel $735 million in more weapons. There is no words to describe how corrupt this is. Because remember what I just covered. What did I just tell you guys? Israel funds Biden's campaigns. Biden is funded by weapon defense contractors. So Biden get elected because he got Israel and defense weapon financiers financing his campaign. And then when he gets in office, he literally does their bidding. So it's a circle of enrichment. Biden take donation from these people, then Biden give them weapons deals so they can make money, the weapon contractors. Israel didn't buy those weapons. Then Israel paid Joe. How is this any less corrupt than anything Trump has done? And I railed against Trump on this. When I talk to conservatives, like, bro, your boy said American first, but he's a puppet of Israel and Saudi Arabia. And we didn't get to Biden being a Saudi Arabia puppet as well. You don't believe me? Check this out. Weak U.S. Saudi jail. Weak U.S. let Saudi jail more dissidents, says Right Group. You know why? Saudi Arabia right now is emboldened because Joe Biden did a probe and they found out that Saudi Arabia actually was going after and killing Khashoggi and the journalists there, right? And then at the time, the liberal media establishment was praising Biden because they say, oh, see, Trump, he didn't want to look into this issue. Trump was weak on Saudi Arabia because he didn't want to have a probe. You guys know what Biden did? Biden launched a probe into Saudi Arabia, found out that they killed Jamal Khashoggi, and then they're like, we can't do anything about that. Our alliance with Saudi Arabia is too important. So effectively, Biden did the same exact thing that Trump did, but he's smarter than Trump and his dumbass team. So Trump announced that he said, yo, we're going to do a probe, got all the good PR, had the squad, and you had all the progressive, like, doing PR for Joe Biden. And then when it actually comes to the crux of the issue, he doesn't deliver. And you have dumbass progressives who keep falling for this. You realize that this is not the first time he did this, right? This is not the first time he did this. When he announced he's going to end the policy and they just continue doing it on the low. Yeah, I know I'm not live on Twitch. We're just doing YouTube today. Israel and Saudi both know they can get away with whatever they want now. That's exactly the result of Joe Biden and the Democratic Party politics. So what this article is saying is that the Biden administration's failure to impose sanctions on Saudi Arabia Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman had led to an increase in severe sentences for political prisoners in the kingdom. So what just happened there? Biden said, okay, we can't do anything when you kill Jamal Khashoggi. With liberals lost their shit when Trump did that. But then Saudi like, oh, shit. Joe Biden not doing anything either. So now we can go after more people who are critical of our government, which, as this article says, exactly what happened. So let me ask you guys, who has Joe Biden been the lesser of two evils for so far? Rabbit Foo said, Jai Paul threatened to downgrade her Biden rating to B+. That'll show him. No, after Joe Biden now complicit with the bombing of Palestine, I think she's going to bump him down to an A-. That will learn him. Dude, our progressive leaders are a joke, man. I really didn't wish it. I wish that wasn't the case. Jesus fucking Christ. Good news is the massive amount of international solidarity that's been shown for the Palestinian people. And I feel like the tide is now changing on this issue. Actually, I'm a little no discussing. We'll get into that. I won't break this article down because this article is amazing. Discuss the history of blacks and Palestinian solidarity. Palestinian and African American. Actually, I got this clip for Nelson Mandela. I want to play that too. South African solidarity. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Nelson Mandela clips on here because he's just simply incredible, right? Is this channel demonetized? We actually hit monetization, and And so we'll probably do super chats very soon. Like we like despite the crazy growth we have on our channel, we only launched last month. Like April the first of April we did our first show. So the growth we have shows pretty incredible right now. And the only thing and that's with them throttling us. So that's why we asked for you guys to please share this stuff. Because we're not getting any help by the algorithm. The algorithm is not gonna help us. It's not gonna happen. Like you can't find our videos. And then you gotta like hit the bell. And just like people saying, they get unsubscribed sometimes. That was the reality of being independent media now, right? In YouTube, right? Lady Lumia said, "I confess I was a coward. I tried to speak out against Israel and got destroyed in arguments. Keep your head up, man. Only thing you can do is just keep learning. I haven't won all my political debates either. You just get better. We are in the right, and I still got a lot of things we can cover on this issue. I cover foreign policy a lot on this show, and people who follow my content know I'm not this like arrogant smug dude that you see like white streamers that are like super popular. They're like super arrogant. They're like, I'm the smartest motherfucker. I'm the next Noam Chomsky. Like, they are so arrogant. But I'm telling you, I'm very honest, and I think this is part of my appeal. Is I'm like, we learning this together as a team. And that's how I am, and I think that's should be your mindset as well. So I'm much better on foreign policy than I was just a few years ago, but I still got a lot to learn. Are we going to go through this article that goes through the historical context of how Israel pretty much subjugated the Palestinian people for decades despite American propaganda? I'm going to learn as we go through this article too, guys. So just keep learning. Just keep getting better at this kind of stuff, right? But there's been actually I'm gonna see if I can go to the video with Nelson Mandela. I'm gonna jump around here a little bit. The last time I was live last Tuesday on Black Liberation, we watched some Nelson Mandela with my man Anthony Clark, who's my man Anthony Clark come in clutch because he's gonna introduce me to Frank Hampton Jr. and I'm very excited about that. But check this video out from Mandela, who is just another one of my teachers. Let's do the sound test. Make sure you guys can hear it. You guys can hear it, right? I think so. But check this out. This is a great thread by Anthony here. Amazing black leftist on Twitter. I want to get this guy on my show. He's really, really, really solid. And he kind of, in this thread, and we go through this very soon, he outlines Palestinian African-American solidarity. But before I get into another source I want to get into on that, this is Mandela pretty much explaining how the Palestinian people played a giant role and they helped so much in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa, right? So check this video out from Nelson Mandela.
Yasser Arafat, Colonel Gaddafi, Fidel Castro support our struggle to the hilt.
Sorry, I think the volume was a little low at the beginning, but he said Fidel Castro, Gaddafi, they support our struggle to the hilt. So this is him praising these people for being supportive.
There is no reason whatsoever why we should have any hesitation about hailing their commitment to human rights as they are being demanded in South Africa. Our attitude is based solely on the fact that they fully support the anti-apartheid struggle. They do not support it only in rhetoric. They are placing resources at our disposal.
Are not only supporting it in rhetoric. They are supporting it in resources, he just said. Who does that remind you of? Right? Let me repeat that because that's such a powerful line by him.
On the fact that they fully support the anti-apartheid struggle. They do not support it only in rhetoric. They are placing resources at our disposal for us to win the struggle.
Meanwhile, the same people who pretend that they respect Nelson Mandela and Nelson Mandela represent their politics, they pretend that Nelson Mandela represents what they represent. Meanwhile, they are supportive of the apartheid state of Israel, which Nelson Mandela cannot condemn more, cannot condemn stronger. Hopefully you guys can hear that. um, did you guys hear that the whole time? Hopefully you guys did. I saw one person said they couldn't hear. But when I say that I learned from Nelson Mandela, when I say I learned from Fred Hampton, the Black Panthers, who has a long-standing tradition of standing with the Palestinian people, I really believe that. Let's do some education real quick. You guys want to do some education? So I tweeted this a while back. Let me get everything put up for you guys. I got so many bookmarks. So this is what I tweeted at the time. Come on, guys, come on. It's taking a while. I can do some in the comments here. I appreciate everyone who's watching so far. And this is the portrait in Gaza City in Palestine. I really appreciate Yasmin for sharing this. And it said, our struggles are one. Our movement against militarism is worldwide. They don't want us to understand how we are all interconnected because we will be unstoppable. Hashtag Palestine will be free. And that's a portrait of George Floyd that Palestinians honor. And this is why my tweet at the time said African American / Palestinian solidarity goes back decades. This is what Malcolm X had to say on the issue of Israel-Palestine. The Zionist argument to justify Israel's present occupation of Arab Palestine has no intelligent or legal basis in history. Meanwhile, shitlibs think that Malcolm X will be on their side. When I say I'm a Malcolm X leftist, you understand why I hate Joe Biden. Because Malcolm X would have hated Joe Biden. Look at his stance on Israel-Palestine. Look at the Black Panthers' stance on Israel-Palestine. You think they will be apologetic for Biden? Are you kidding me? The reason why I bring this up, because my friend Ryder here, he's a Kansas City comrade as well. This is the divide and conquer bullshit you see out of black liberals. This is why I call black liberals as harshly as I call out anyone else. This is why. Because black liberals and black imperialists, the people who follow the footsteps of Barack Obama instead of MLK, they do shit like this. Because she got to justify the Democratic Party stance on Israel-Palestine. So she said, didn't a Palestinian call the police who killed George Floyd? Anti-blackness is deep among that group. Meanwhile, she is quote tweeting them standing in solidarity with George Floyd. In every community may have individuals that has issues on race and blackness. But what she's saying here is factually untrue. You guys just saw the clip I played with Nelson Mandela, where Palestinians were not only supportive of South African apartheid in rhetoric, they were pulling resources for them. This is why I go after black liberals as hard as I go after anyone else, because they are dangerous. There's like a movement of like anti-solidarity among the black shit libs, where they're like, oh well, I don't support violence, stand up against violence against Asian Americans because Asian Americans are anti-black. You understand, by repeating that, you are fighting against what Fred Hampton said. You know what Fred Hampton said? Fred Hampton said you fight racism with solidarity. So honestly, I've been told and I've been around, I heard of anti-blackness in the Asian community. That's a thing. But that's not going to stop me for standing in solidarity with Asian Americans who are victims of hate crimes. Anyone who suggests otherwise is dangerous. And that will allow black liberals do. And that will allow white liberals do when they try to pit us against each other. You had the Biden administration trying to pit Latino issues and African American issues together. That's what they're trying to do. They're like, oh, we gotta have black agenda instead of Latino agenda. I see Latino activists. I mean, there was a thing where I was talking to black leftists, like, we got to stop. This is not something that should be happening where we having like oppression Olympics. Oh, why did they get this but we didn't? We should be fine for everyone. I getting riled up. But this is why I want to raise this issue, and this is why I want to talk about the solidarity among these communities. Discussing how black shit lives and the Democratic Party tries to divide and conquer black American Palestinian solidarity. I'm asking you guys, like, you guys see what I'm talking about, right? Like, I'm honestly reading all your comments, guys. Discussing how black children in America tries to divide and conquer black. There you go. Yeah, that's the message I'm gonna get out there. So, do you guys get what I'm trying to say? Yeah, Tommy agreed. And this is why, like, please, if you enjoy this stuff, share FHL. I'm glad we got a lot of people watching right now, and this is the only way we grow. Like, are you hearing this kind of analysis on any? And I like some of these like white YouTubers or whatever, but they're the most popular people. Are you hearing this analysis on some of these channels? Show some love to black leftists and people of color, guys. Help share, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Hit the bell so you can check out all our content. We upload every day. But let's do some learning, because I just tweeted out that I'm doing this segment. Once again, I tweet a lot when I do my streams, because that's the only way we get viewers. Like, no, you're not gonna see our videos like in the recommend tab on YouTube. So I'm just letting you guys know that's why I'm doing that. I'm not trying to be annoying. Well, I just gotta do what I do, right? Because it's not gonna show our videos otherwise. So let's do some learning, guys. Because this is where I want to get into Palestinian African American solidarity. Yes, and this is, I'm not too familiar with this this source here, but this is a solid article. Let me adjust my window here so you guys can see it. It's a pretty solid article, right? So I don't know that much about these people, but this is really, really good work here. So this is let's go through this article slowly. Hopefully you guys down to do this, because I tweeted like portions of this article, but I wanted to really go through this live. I brought it up on Thursday, on like the FHL podcast roundtable, but now I want to actually dive more into this. They are discussing a letter of James Baldwin. We can skip that part there. But they're pretty much sharing his personal story. Lacking the feeling of homelessness and embracing eternal homelessness, while Israel becomes the backbone for a series of letters and unpublished writing by Baldwin which explore the Israel-Palestine situation. Baldwin becomes an important, interesting figure in analyzing exactly what it is that Palestinian-Israel conflict has historically made Black Americans feel, which has been able to cultivate decades-long solidarity between two oppressed groups. So that this first paragraph here, that's them pretty much outlining how there's been solidarity between Palestinian people and African Americans, and that's clear because it's obvious the connection in our struggles there. Like, how can you see what happened with the Black codes and Jim Crow and slavery, and then the continual oppression of our people by our police state, and you not feel anything about what happened with the Palestinian people? By the way, I want to bring this point up as well, because all these issues connect. You have to be anti-imperialist if you're anti-police. Like, you can't be one or another. You can't be supportive of ending the wars without being supportive of ending the police state. What I mean by that? because we see how Israel police treat Palestinians. You have Israeli police and you had the IDF. They train with the NYPD and police all over the country, and they learn an ideology called killology. They train together. They breed together. This is what they do. So what's my point here? The ICC did a probe into to the way American police treat African Americans. And in this probe, they found that the treatment of African Americans by American police constitutes a crime against humanity and violates international law. So how does that relate to the Israel-Palestine conflict? Because the ICC was trying to look into Israel-Palestine, and guess who blocked it? Biden administration. So you had the police that trained with the IDF in Israel. They passed the same ideology together. ICC found that the way police treated people in America constituted a war crime. They wanted to look into Israel-Palestine. They blocked it. This is why there has to be solidarity amongst these two groups. Now let me get back to the education here. This is talking about how Baldwin looked into Black Palestinian solidarity. I'm going to get to some more of the substantive articles. There we go. This is the article. This is the paragraph I want to read right here. And this connects exactly with what I'm trying to lay out here. The late 1960s began to function as a breeding ground for Black and Palestinian solidarity, which one could argue occurred at the height of the Black Power movement. So that happened at the height of the Black Power movement that has been demonized by white America, right? Along with several decolonial Pan-African movements taking place internationally. So I can say that I'm saying there's solidarity between Black Americans and Palestinians, but I can go as far as say that Palestinians had international solidarity with anyone with dark skin here, because there have been multiple Pan-African movements that had the same kind of solidarity together, right? In 1967, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. So this committee, they led a lot of marches during the Civil Rights Movement. There it is. The SNCC played a central role in the freedom rides, sit-ins, in 1963 March on Washington. So this is a giant civil rights organization. And they said they made a bold decision to issue a statement of unreserved support for the self-determination of Palestinian people. So you had a giant civil rights organization. You had Pan-African movements all over the country. All over the world standing in solidarity, right, with the Palestinian people. So as I go through this, I want you guys to understand how dishonest the Black liberals being when they trying to get Palestinians and African Americans to fight against each other and see who deserve liberation more. I just want people to understand how ridiculous that is now, right? I lost my article. There we go. So now we are the Fred Hampton leftists here. And this is why I am doing a whole live stream talking about Israel-Palestine. This is why I've been rage tweeting about Israel-Palestine for the last week. Like straight rage tweeting. Because I'm a Fred Hampton leftist. And this next paragraph gets to that. It should come at no surprise that around the same time, the Black Panther Party also took a stern pro-Palestine position. This is largely due to the Black Panther's conceptualization of Black Americans as a colonized people within a colony. And understanding the colony they existed in also happened to be the world's imperial or hegemonial power, with Black Panthers having a strong Pan-Africanist influence guiding their evolving political Marxist-Leninist moist ideology. They saw the Palestinian struggle as almost synonymous with the international Black struggle. So you guys understand why I care about this issue so much now. And you guys understand why I have nothing but disdain for anyone who is a black Zionist. Ask Ethiopian Jews how they've been treated by Israel, by the way. It's an extremely racist state. Extremely racist state. I say, ask Ethiopian Jews how they've been treated by Israel through the last few decades. And I feel bad for Jewish allies because I made my tweet today where I said I get very upset when people use the race card to deflect from criticisms of Barack Obama. Like, that drives me crazy. So now you have Jewish allies who stand in solidarity and who are anti-Zionists. That's a very large amount of people, by the way. And the implication that it's not is anti-Semitic, actually. Because to assume that all Jewish people have loyalty to Israel, that's an anti-Semitic trope. So you have amazing people like Katie Hopper. You have amazing Jewish political commentators been speaking out. We got a lot of appreciation for those people. And I feel bad when anti-Semitism is weaponized to prop up this evil state of Israel. Right? So that's the long-standing... there's a lot more information here, but I wanted to cover that because that kind of gets really into the long-standing solidarity. I'm going to put this article in the comments here for you guys who are watching it live. Yeah, I know we have... I saw a few trolls in the chat, but you guys realize more comments on our video only helps us, right? So I'm just doing my thing. I don't care. Like, the more they comment on the live stream, they actually help us out. So keep it up. It's kind of fun, right? That's why I don't... that's why even if I don't like no one... even if I don't like someone, I won't, troll their page. Because that only helps them. That actually help boost your page. So... and if you guys, there are a lot of people... I think the tide is changing now. Okay, actually, let me tweet this last statement out. Discussing the intense racism from the highest levels of the Israeli government to its citizens. I'm just tweeting out this segment. I'm not getting into this. But I still got live segments, guys. I might keep this to an hour and a half. I might go to an hour. We'll see. I only plan on actually doing an hour, but I'm already way past that. Anyone who followed my channel and used to watch my Twitch streams, they know this is how I usually always time to do an hour, and I always end up going longer than that. I had a Zionist. I take him out because he's spamming now. I had a Zionist really, really upset in my comments. That's so fucking... I want Zionists to be upset at me because I despise Zionism to my extreme core. I hate Zionism so much. You guys want to see why? You guys want to see why I hate Zionism? Check this out. Abby Martin, one of my favorite journalists in the game. In the motherfucking game. Yeah, I just banned him now. Sorry I let him go for so long. Well, I thought I banned him. Let's see. Just so you guys can have an enjoyable comment section. Cause usually I wouldn't care. Now I think I'm blocked. I don't know how to take him out. This don't matter to me. Just don't pay attention to the stream. I don't know. But anyway, I want him to see this. I actually really, really want them to see this. Because if you guys know why I take such a hardline stance on Zionism, check this out. Abby Martin interviewed Israelis in West Jerusalem. And this is why the tide is turning. Look how many views that got. 4.4 million views. I know this is a few days old, but we have to check this out. And let me do a sound test real quick. Let me guys know you can hear it.
Israelis have to take over, and they have to kick them away. It will be much better.
You guys can't hear that? Someone leave a chat. Someone leave a comment. I don't want to play the whole video and you guys can't hear it. Oh, Jesus. All right, let me figure out the chat. Let me figure out the chat thing. So you guys can hear it? Okay. So we can play the video. I didn't want to play the whole video and you guys can hear it. Like, the thing is, I don't know how to make someone a mod. Actually, hold on. Let me... Just give me 1 second, guys, so I can clean this situation up. Like, I honestly don't care, but if you guys want me to get rid of the troll, I'll do that for you guys. Because honestly, I can talk all day. I don't really care that I got Zionists upset in my chat. So let me figure out if I can actually get rid of them now. Okay, yeah, I think there we go. Sorry guys, I just now got it. So let me know. I think I banned the troll. I think. Anyway, let's just watch the video. Don't worry about him. Like I said, I'm not worried about him. So let's just watch this, so you guys can see. Once again, some of you guys probably seen this because it's got a lot of views, but I think it's very, very important. I just want to make sure that everything is working for you guys before I play it. Check this out. Check this unhinged shit out right here.
I think Israelis have to take over, and they have to kick them away. It will be.
So let me make this point. Cause you heard what you just said there. You say you think Israel should take over and we should kick them away. We have all this Western propaganda that paints Israel as the victim and use their talking points. Meanwhile, if you listen to what the Israeli government says and what Israeli citizens say, they literally just give up the game. They literally admit what they want to do, by the way. Let's continue.
Much better not to kill them, just to go back to Arab countries.
But it's really rightfully ours if you look at the history and at like the wars, and we didn't even start a lot of the wars. And we conquered these places rightfully, like it's ours.
Conquer.
1,400 years.
The use of the word conquer is a bold admission. Like, I don't think, like, they are so brainwashed. When she said we conquered them, she don't even understand that implies that they are the bad guy. That literally backs up the Israeli position. That we lived here and you guys stole our land. She's so brainwashed, she can't even put that together. She don't understand that she just made an argument by saying that. That's how brainwashed these people are.
Later, we come back. Now, I'm not saying that we can blame the people living here for what happened, but you got to accept that that's some kind of divine justice, that their great-great-great-great-grandfathers kicked my great-great-great-grandfather out of here, and then we come back, and all of a sudden they're like, well, no, we don't want it, it's not fair.
I think that the Jews came here, they took this land, and this is our land now, and I don't think there should be here no Arabs.
No Arabs.
Like Arabs, they won, we gave them...
So you gotta know why I say Israel is a racist, Zionism is a racist ideology now, right? This is why I wasn't like in a hurry to like kick that guy out. I want him to hear this. Like, this is Zionism. The Israeli people, and I'm gonna show you a clip of officials from the Israeli government what they say. These people do not hide their ideology. It's the Western media that try to clean it up for us because we're Israel bootlickers and Joe Biden's a long-time Zionist. Let's continue.
They should go live there quietly if they want. They should go back to Iraq, I don't know, to wherever they want.
I think that we need to...
I don't think there's any answer to it. Really? There's only one way, like, I would carpet bomb them.
He would carpet bomb them.
It's the only way you could deal with it.
If you guys think I'm being too harsh when I say the Israelis are racist, imagine this situation. Imagine someone was at a Trump rally and they were talking to Proud Boys, and the Proud Boys say they want to carpet bomb Compton. They want to carpet bomb the black community. Imagine the justified reaction to that. That's what the Israeli people are saying about the Palestinians.
it. Like, or try to stop them a different way. It never worked.
I think that we're miserable. The Arabs make a פיגועים and we need to kill Arabs.
So I wanted to pause it right there for a reason. I want to pause it there for a reason. Check that. Look at this image. Look at this image. Look at her smile and look at the subtitle. We need to kill Arabs. This is not me saying. This is not me playing this. This is what she just said. Look at the smile, and she just nonchalantly says, "We need to kill Arabs." So I'll use this because people only understand the context of American politics, right? Imagine, once again, a Proud Boy was caught on film, a Trump supporter was caught on film saying we must kill black people. We must kill gay people. Maybe there has been, I missed it, but they got the justified outrage, right? This is who our government is funding. Once again, this is the more of the citizens, but we're going to get to the officials here very soon.
No.
Look at that.
The Jews should have rights to hate them. I think we have the right to hate them. I don't see a reason why not. I wouldn't trust any of them.
אין מצב שיהיה פה שלום בארץ, אי אפשר לעשות איתם שלום, הם תמיד שונאים אותנו. אם אי אפשר לעשות שלום והמצב ככה לא יכול להישאר, אז צריך לטפל בהם בדרכים אחרות, אין מה לעשות.
I think we should give them a country. If you're doing any problem, you just go in there to give them a country, and then it's going to be a war between countries, you know? If they're going to throw rockets, we're going to throw one big one and done.
I'm asking you guys, what's your thoughts after watching that video? Comment time. What's your thoughts? Like Leroy said, that's been superior energy from all of them. It's worse than that, guys. That's what I'm saying. Imagine if you had Trump voters on film saying what they were saying about the African American community against the gays, Muslims, anybody. It will go viral. It would be like literally one of the craziest things. So check this out here. Let me find the other source for you guys. Because the criticism you can say, oh well, that's just the Israeli people. They're extremists. They don't represent the government of Israel. You guys know where I'm going with this, right? These are quotes from real Israeli officials. This is from, I'm not going to be able to say none of these people's names, by the way, so I hope you guys can see it. This is in 2013. He said, Palestinians are beasts. They are not human. He's the Deputy Minister of Religious Services and current Deputy Minister of Defense. This is from a speechwriter he's a speechwriter and advisor to Netanyahu. So someone directly in the ear. Netanyahu. We all know who's worse than Trump, right? What's so horrifying about understanding that the entire Palestinian people is the enemy? So I always put this in context of Black America, right? Imagine if Steve Bannon or any of the Trump advisors was caught saying this. What's so horrifying about understanding that the entire Black American community is the enemy? Imagine that. Imagine the headlines I was spinning. Imagine Stephen Miller. What's so horrifying about understanding that the entire Latino community is the enemy? Like, what the fuck? Now he continues. They are all enemy combatants, and their blood shall be on all their heads. Now, this also includes the mothers of the martyrs, who send them to hell with flowers and kisses. They should follow their sons. Nothing will be more just. They should go as the physical homes in which they raise the snakes. Otherwise, more little snakes will be raised there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, just imagine if this was anyone from the Republican Party that says this. There's more. Current Minister of Culture and Support in 2012 said, the Sudanese are a cancer in our body, and we will do everything to send them back to where they came from. A foreign minister and leader, so I'm not even going to butcher these names, but this official said, those who are with us deserve everything, but those who are against us deserve to have their head chopped off with an axe. That's some straight up ISIS shit, isn't it? Our soldiers are only. This is another deputy speaker from the Israeli parliament for Netanyahu's party. So this part, another Netanyahu loyalist here. Our soldiers are only innocent in Gaza. Under no circumstances should they be killed because of the false morality that prefers to protect enemy civilians. This is one of the most insane lines I've ever read. Let's check this out. One hair on the head of an Israeli soldier is more precious than the entire Gazan populace. Have you guys ever heard anything more racist than that? What is more racist than that? One hair of the head of an Israeli soldier is more precious than the entire Gazan populace, which elected the Hamas and supports and encourage anyone who murders Israeli. Blah blah. Gets worse. Well, I think that's I honestly think that's the worst line though. I honestly think that's the worst line. All right, let me clean up. Let me see if I can clean the comments. I'm not sure if it works though. Jesus. Okay. So I think I took the other guy out. I think I did. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream otherwise. Like, you guys should be, like, watching. I think I got rid of him. I'm still not used to doing, like, this mod shit. So if he come back, I'll see what I can do from there. Okay, what was I? We have more quotes to read. More quotes. Let me, I'm very excited about the people watching so far. Let me guys know how the stream is going. Is it good? I think we put in a pretty solid episode, but I still got a lot to talk about, man. That's the problem. I still got a lot to talk about. Because, damn, 2 hours I look at the time, almost an hour and a half. This is crazy. Okay, so let me go. Let me keep going. Because I still got a lot to talk about. Okay, let's go to the rest of these quotes. Let me move this down a little bit. A Jew always has a much higher soul than a gentle, even if he's a homosexual. So you get both the racism and the homophobia. Sorry, you get the homophobia and you get the racism there. Look at this. Murray Ragnar said, "I am happy to be a fascist." The people from the U.S. government, Biden, is funding people who are saying, I am happy to be fascist. And yet there are people that think they voted fascism out. People think they voted out fascism out last year. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the positive comments. I appreciate it. I know, sorry guys. I just had a brain fart. Homophobia. Solidarity. There are 92,000 families in Israel in which one of the partners is not Jewish. We have a real problem that we had to deal with. Dude, these quotes are so fucking crazy. Like, I was putting in the context of imagine if these was like Republicans, which I view as extremists, right? But people pretend they're the worst thing ever, but then Democrats will support the Israeli state. And that drives me crazy. That hypocrisy drives me crazy, man. It really does. So I'm glad I didn't vote for this shit. I'm so fucking happy I didn't vote for Biden this shit. I'll be fucking sick. If you happy with your vote, that's fine. And I'm not mad at you. I'm saying that I couldn't fucking live with my shit. Thank you, Sonja, Derai, friend of the show. Yeah, retweet, share. That helps us grow because that's like I look at the analytics. They say like 90% of our views come from when we tweet this shit out because you're not gonna find us on YouTube. So, so you guys read this, right? This is Benjamin Netanyahu. I'll read this quote because I actually get kind of sick reading this. The way to deal with Palestinians is to beat them up, not once, but repeatedly. Beat them up so it hurts so badly until it's unbearable. That's Benjamin Netanyahu, the current prime minister of Israel. The person who is loved by the Democratic Party. And you guys now understand why I never had Trump derangement syndrome. You want me to have Trump derangement syndrome, but the Democratic Party is supportive of Benjamin Netanyahu, who is easily worse than Trump. Not even close. The only argument you can put for Trump for being as bad as Netanyahu is the fact that Trump is complicit with him, that he worked with Netanyahu. Like, I will accept that argument. I accept that, right? But on terms of what they actually did, Netanyahu is an open, unapologetic ethno-fascist. That's like to the right of white nationalism. What Trump and MAGA pretty much preaches, right? But meanwhile, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they love him. They love him. I mean, you think I'm bullshitting? It shouldn't take me that long to find it. I tweeted it out. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. It's fine. I'll Google it then. Because this shit is not hard to find, guys. This is what I want to emphasize to you guys. Because so when people pretend I have, like, I'm like saying this like hidden knowledge, it's like this stuff is out and open. And this is why the corporate propaganda we fed is so dumb, and why people fall for it is so dumb. Because anyone with basic internet access should be able to debunk this shit. Look, this is Kamala Harris with Benjamin Netanyahu. But Kamala Harris thinks Trump is the worst person of all time. Kamala Harris thinks Trump is the most racist, fascist person of all time. Meanwhile, that's her with Benjamin Netanyahu. They're great friends. Like, it's beyond, like, politics in general is beyond parody to me. And people act like I'm the extremist. It's like, what the fuck? So, where am I at? I'm about an hour and a half in. So I still got a lot to talk about too. So we see the Israeli government and how unhinged and how they're openly advocating for genocide. I'm gonna head out of the way. And Biden apparently, because he feels so much pressure, he was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm actually supportive of a ceasefire in Gaza now." How are you going to be, for one, as I mentioned earlier, they already blocked 3 UN calls for a ceasefire. So what he's saying is bullshit. But even if why would you approve a $735 million weapons deal to Israel if you want there to be a ceasefire? Oh, I think you guys should have a ceasefire, but here are these bombs just in case. Biden is funding genocide. Biden sponsored genocide. It is not in the first one. At this point, this is genocide. Genocide he is sponsoring. Yemen, he said he's going to end the support of Yemen. They continue to put more resources into that. I'm sorry, I had to check that. Okay. And just to understand the depravity of neoliberalism, look at this. Joe Biden budget, compare his budget for military assistance to Israel. The military assistance he's sending to Israel is higher than the global climate change response. Are you kidding me? President Joe Biden's budget for military assistance to Israel is higher than his global climate change response. Meanwhile, people think they was fighting climate change by voting for Joe Biden and the Democrat Party, who are advocating for fracking. Thank you for watching, Lady Lumia. It's been a long show. You've been sticking with us the whole time. Thank you. Thank you for watching everyone. I think I just gotta do another live stream because I literally got so much stuff I could cover. I only plan on doing an hour and a half though. We're about almost an hour and a half. So let me see if I can get through some more headlines real quick. See, I just always have a fun time doing this stuff. Let's see. This is the people we're saying weapons to. Israel has destroyed Gaza's only laboratory testing for the coronavirus, a senior health official said. This is genocide, guys. And to understand the difference between neoliberalism and leftism, check out this take by my good friend Marie. So you have Joe Biden, who approved of a $735 million weapons deal. So you have Cuba, who during the pandemic, they are like exporting doctors. Meanwhile, the United States, they're exporting bombs. Just let you guys know the war priorities lay at. This is that's Biden getting paid by Israel. And just to let you guys know how far right our country has gone, this is Bush Sr., by the way. Bush Sr. makes aid to Israel subject to conditions. Sunday, October 6, 1991. Yeah, people keep referring to Joe Biden as a moderate, when Joe Biden is to the right of George Bush Sr. on this issue. Joe Biden is to the right of 56% of Republican voters on health care. Joe Biden is on the right of majority of Republican voters on marijuana use. How is he a moderate? How? Someone explain this to me. Yeah, that's a great point. I kind of brought that up earlier. Denalia. I love how crazy everyone was about Putin influencing the government during the Trump administration, while Bibi has openly said that he influences the U.S. elections constantly. That's why this is why I was a harsh critic of Russiagate. Because I'm like, you guys are talking about Russian interference in our elections. You know how many fucking governments are in our elections? Saudi Arabia, Israel, you got a lot of UN. This is what happens in international politics. It's a very childlike view of international politics. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe Russia want to influence American elections. That's evil. No one does this. Bro, the U.S. literally been involved with the Soviet Union in their elections since the 70s and 80s. The fuck? These narratives that are spun by corporate media and the mainstream political consciousness in America, they're so childish. The idea that even if when you look at the depth of what they got involved in the elections, it's bullshit. It's a lot of lies there. It's just fucking social media trolls. But even if I take them at their face value, that's nothing compared to what the U.S. done to democracies all over the world. What? Russian Putin is liberals Benghazi. Yep. Just like Benghazi. They all have their crazy conspiracy theories. Blue team, red MAGA, blue MAGA, the same thing. Let's see. Let's see what else we have. I think I'm gonna save the Yang story for next stream because I think an hour and a half is pretty good. So I hope everyone enjoyed my stream. I know I got riled up. I'll try to keep my language a little cleaner next time. But we talking about genocide here. Like we talking about our taxpayer money funding genocide. Like how am I supposed to react to this? So sorry I got riled up during the stream. I didn't finish like half the stuff I wanted to present. Maybe I'll do like a special Wednesday night episode. Will you guys be down for that? Wednesday evening or something like that? Because we still got a lot of stuff to cover here. Dan Hooligan said polite fash is better than vulgar fash. So what Biden does is it's very dangerous because Biden is just like Trump. He's funding fascism and genocide just like Trump did. The difference is he has complete media complicity. You got people apologizing for him for governing in a horrible way. Because I mentioned before, Biden's stance on the coronavirus and economics is the same as Donald Trump. They want to cut unemployment because they want to force people to go back to work for starvation wages when we still have an insane amount of people dying due to the coronavirus, even though people are being vaccinated. The same as Trump. Thank you, Igni, Stardust. Because I'm getting better with being presenter. Like you guys realize I've only been doing this for less than a year, but it's fun doing this. It's fun talking to you guys. So yeah, I get riled up when I talk about this kind of stuff because I talk about stuff because I couldn't follow a lot of the stuff I seen on Twitter that people were sharing. I couldn't watch it because to me it's too traumatizing. Like, I'm already as radicalized as it gets. So me just literally discussing the stuff where I'm talking about here without actually seeing the bodies, like that stuff, like really, that really upsets me. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been going through today. So I think we had a good time today. I'm glad everyone enjoyed the stream. I still got a few things to talk about. I got a few stories to cover regarding trickle-down economics, Andrew Yang's free fall. Do a story on income inequality, CEO greed. But I'm thinking that I'm gonna see what's going on tomorrow. But I may do a tomorrow stream at evening time. It depends on what CJ. I don't want to get in the West CJ show, so I may do like a Wednesday or a Saturday night stream or something. Oh yeah, Colombia, dude. I have a whole segment on Colombia that I need to do. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, Carrie. Y'all saw that. Ah, man. That's a good. I literally have a whole segment I want to do for Colombia. So I'm gonna end it on this because we'll break down the same way that we did the Israel Palestine breakdown. We are gonna do a breakdown on Colombia, but I'm gonna end it on this video because if you don't know what's going on in Colombia, this interview with this professor here. Let me pull it up here. This is a great way to summarize what's going on in Colombia. So we'll watch this video, but I do appreciate everyone for watching. Please hit like, subscribe. We do upload every day. I think CJ is gonna have some great content for us tomorrow. Thursday we have our Fred Hampton Leftist Roundtable with all the talent. So Thursday is gonna be our big show. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed so far. So let's watch this breakdown. It's only 2 minutes. That's why I want to share this because what's this guy's name? Activist Manuel Rosenthal. Dr. Manuel Rosenthal. Put respect on his name. This is a great breakdown. So watch this and we wrap it up from there.
Are fed up. 73% of the people in this country approved the strike before it started, and it has only grown since then. And how it feels like there is a massive uprising in this country that nobody runs and nobody controls. There's no vanguard leading this, although many organizations and unions and organizations have put all the strength into this. This is a spontaneous, massive national uprising against and I'm not exaggerating, this is not a political
Not exaggeration.
against a fascist mafia regime.
And Joe Biden is supportive of that fascist mafia regime. And he can explain. I want to rewind that because I won't put a lot of emphasis on that.
And I'm not exaggerating, this is not a political rhetoric, against a fascist mafia regime. It is...
Oh, wait, I want to make sure. I think you guys can barely hear him, right? Can you guys hear him? Almost over anyway. I want to make sure that you guys can hear him.
There are assassinations and massacres in Colombia throughout the country after the peace agreement with FARC was signed, counted by the thousands. There are also impoverishment of the people. The healthcare system doesn't work. We didn't have a healthcare system prior to the pandemic. The pandemic has only made this a lot worse. There is a direct attack against the poor indigenous people, Afro-Colombians throughout the country. There is ongoing impoverishment, but here's what's happening that explains everything. On the one hand, the Colombian elite and government are linked with drug trafficking, drug trade. That's why we say mafia. The returns of money from drug trade, Colombia produces 92% of the cocaine that goes around the global market, 40% of which is not going to the US anymore, but to Europe, Asia, Africa, etc.
Hopefully you guys can hear that pretty well. I'm sorry the audio was a little low. I know the audio was low, so I apologize. I think that's kind of the video too. I'm not sure. I got everything maxed out. But that was kind of the breakdown of the situation in Colombia. And I have a segment that we can do on that and kind of go over the situation in Colombia. But I think I'll probably set up a show for Wednesday night or something. Do you guys have any other questions? Anything that you guys want to cover before I wrap up here? I'm trying to make my friend mod here. Thing is, there we go. Add moderator. Dang, that was way easier than I thought. So for now on, my friend Jackie will be moderator here in the chat. Okay. So this stream's pretty much over. Okay, so for now on, I'm talking to my co-host Jackie. For now on, we're gonna have some powerful mods in here. But I think it was fun. I got some Zionists upset today. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I think I did a pretty good breakdown over the course of 90 minutes to explain why they can't stand Zionism. Not even from a leftist perspective. I think it should be from a humanitarian perspective. Okay. I do this here. So we're talking about Israel Palestine. I give me 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. I'm done. I told you guys this happens all the time. Can you guys send out a text when your shows are up? John Kemper says. What? All right, so Andrew Yang made that unhinged comment supporting the apartheid state of Israel. While Israel, the timing couldn't be worse. There's no time to make that statement. But he made that statement as Israel was as this issue was blowing up. It was the dumbest political move I've ever seen. And because of that, this is amazing. This is not good in the long run, but this is good for the movement. Andrew Yang was a shoo-in. He was dominating the field. He stood up for the apartheid state of Israel. Now he free fell in the polls, minus 17. Minus 17. The bad news is, and this is why I've been flagging on Twitter, and Jackie always remember me, Jackie, I do not like Yang. It's what I was saying at the time, and I take it back. What I was saying, I was so scared of Democrats, especially New York Democrats. So I was like, all right, at least you could get, I'd rather prefer Yang's politics than neoliberal. But Yang had just fell off the cliff. Like he's so bad now. It's unbelievable. so bad. And the only reason I even said that because his stance on legalizing drugs, and even though his GBI sucked, it was better than nothing. I feel, but he sucks now. Like he's not. He's just a standard Democrat. His foreign policy is awful. Stand for the state of Israel. Was against Julian Assange being pardoned. Assange says status quo gets text when they go live. Next post on Twitter. Okay, thank you guys. Like I'm learning with you guys. If I can figure out a way to set up where you guys get text messages when we go live, I'm all for that. Jackie, do you now do that? Jackie wanted me to finish this out so bad, but I already went way longer than I thought. If you guys have any other questions, I'll take them, but I'll do this last Yang story. After this Yang story, I'll wrap up. So I don't want this to be framed as a positive for the left. I think it's good for the issue because it shows what happens when you speak for the state of Israel now. And that's never been the case. It's never been the case that the pro-Palestine position was a safer option. The reason why this shows how Yang the coward, he took his position on Israel because there's a high Jewish constituency in New York. But once again, as I explained, assuming that Jewish people have loyalty to Israel, that in itself is an anti-Semitic trope. So they made that miscalculation. They didn't read the room. They didn't understand that we were in shifting times due to the George Floyd protest. Okay, I finished the hour. Jackie. Okay. I got a lot. I'm going to have a lot of clips for you guys because I'm clipping all this stuff. I'm going to have a lot of clips. But that was a giant miscalculation as you guys can see on this poll. But the thing is, when you look at Adams is horrific. Like he is about as bad as a Democrat you could get. He's a black oligarch, used to be a cop, and he is still to this day in 2021, despite all the anti-police violence protests, he is still for stop and frisk. How crazy is that? And he is on the same he's on the same wavelength as Andrew Yang on Israel Palestine too. It's just he's not a fucking dumbass to make a giant announcement like Andrew Yang did at the worst possible time. So now Yang made his statement like an idiot, and then allow Adams and the rest of these Zionists on this list. The only good person on this list is Morales, and she only got 6%. I remember back in the day, back when I was a dumb lib, I used to think New York and California was like lefty paradises. New York and California is a state full of shit libs. Morales, the only one who gets the Israel-Palestine issue right, the only one who's remotely progressive, and she has 6%. Stranger has sexual harassment allegations on him. He's still an imperialist. He's still not good on Israel-Palestine. So there's still a lot of issues with Stringer, just like the issue with Yang. So there's not a win here. Not a win here. And I was laughing. Since I'm doing an extra 20 minutes, I'll tweet the straight out one more time. Cause I think some people left because I said I was going to leave, but it's whatever. Laughing at the Yang meltdown. You want to see what the meltdown that was cracking me up? Since I'm doing another 20 minutes, we do this segment. That's my brother. Okay, we back. I want to show. I know I muted last second. But what I was saying, I'm gonna show the Yang Gang meltdown. We can do that for our last segment of the day. Because when Yang Gang tanked, I was laughing kind of because Yang Gang did not take it well, and they were lashing out at progressives. Like, oh, see, now we getting Eric Adams because you guys are so picky. It's like, bro, it's not our fault that Andrew Yang supported an apartheid state. He's pro-cop. I didn't touch that. He supports getting the police more money. Bill de Blasio put out a statement that they were putting more police in subways so they can harass working class people more. And then Yang put out a statement where he was like, "Yeah, I'm supportive of that. I think we should have more cops in the subway. We need to protect Asian Americans." You see what they do? And no cop's not gonna do that. No cop's gonna harass working class people and implement regressive taxes. So they use a real issue of racism, and then they use that to fund the forces of oppression that go after disenfranchised communities. To me, they're so transparent, and that what Yang supports. So look at the Yang gang meltdown here. I was kind of laughing at this. I don't want to dog call this guy. I don't be trying to do that. I just want to highlight what people be saying. This guy said, feels like Yang is going to lose this race. And trust me, these are just, I found these examples at the time by literally just Googling Yang. And, not Googling, but I was searching Yang on Twitter. And I just found what they was talking about. And I saw so many tweets where Yang were just lashing out at the left. Because now Eric Adams is a front runner right now. He's horrible. But he said, feel like Yang is going to lose his race to Adams. And it seems like progressives abandoning Yang is why. For one, we didn't abandon Yang. We was never with him. Yang and his team abandoned us. Because Yang used to say, like, yeah, I like Bernie Sanders. But he endorsed Joe Biden. He went on CNN and then he said that I think we should get Joe Biden because he got the best chance of being Trump. So for one, he's lying. And for two, if anything, it was Yang who abandoned the progressives. Because it was Yang who was pretending that he was supportive of Medicare for all. And then when he started rising the polls, he's like, oh no, actually, I support the spirit of Medicare for all. And he admitted that the reason why he did that because he acknowledged that would be good publicity to pretend that he support Medicare for all because it has high poll numbers. This is what Yang said. He admitted, like, yeah, I think it was good to brand my healthcare plan Medicare for all because I support the spirit of that and it's popular. But I support healthcare as a human right. But you guys understand that his healthcare plan was to the right of Pete Buttigieg. Because Pete Buttigieg, he was offering a public option that he was framing as Medicare for all who want it, like a weasel. But what Yang was proposing wasn't even a public option. It's what Biden is doing now. It's adding subsidies. All the shows saying that to health insurance companies to cover people. That's COBRA, which doesn't do anything to reduce the cost of healthcare. That's just a way to prop up health insurance companies. Jack, I did not. I remember during that segment, I specifically said I didn't like Yang. What my problem was, I bought into a lesser evil argument where I was saying, well, at least Yang would be better than a standard Democrat. But I remember when we did our segment, I was like, I don't like him. And I was like, you guys are not gonna try to make me put me into the corner of defending Yang. I think he was really good at doing that, to be honest. I think he did a good job. I made it seem like I was defending Yang. I wasn't. If I was to pick, I would choose Yang over Eric Adams, but I wouldn't rank him because Yang already I can't vote for anyone who's supportive of apartheid state. If you ask me which one I prefer, I guess it would be Yang because he don't support stop with friends. But if I had to vote, I wouldn't rank him because he's disqualified. That's where I stand. I know why I can get outflanked by that though. Leftists can easily, like Jackie can, like people can easily outflank me because people can just say no, fuck Yang, period. And I'm like, yeah, I feel you, bro. What I was saying is I still think Eric Adams is worse. Which is leaving a position on my left open, right? So then my response said, yeah, it's leftist fault that Yang is a apartheid state and Kabul scumbag, blah, blah. There was another one. I'm an unyielding social democrat, Euro style. That's basically Yang style. That's not Yang style. That's not Yang. Yang is a libertarian, by the way. Like, I don't know if Yang Gang is like purposely misleading and lying to people, or if they legitimately don't understand who Yang is. I don't know what it is. Yang, I remember getting into arguments with Yang Gang people saying that he supports Medicare for all, and I'm like, no, he does not. He does not. So it's like I don't know if Yang is tricking them or they purposely lying. I don't know what it is. It just shows that Yang is a really good politician. He tricked a lot of these people. And frankly, the Marxists can fuck off with this all or nothing trash. All or nothing trash is us standing in solidarity with disenfranchised communities. Andrew Yang is pro-cop and he pro-apartheid state. So by you saying all or nothing, you just erase the struggle that my community go through, that the Palestinians has gone through. And I wrote about how healthcare is the most pro-black policy, and he don't support Medicare for all. So it just shows that these people, they just in it for themselves. Like these social democrats, these social Dems, they just want to save a little bit of money on healthcare. But these people, they're not willing to wedge their vote on the Palestinian issue. They're not going to wedge their vote on defund the police. They're not going to wedge their vote on immigration. Because they don't give a fuck. Sorry. They don't care. They don't care. They just want to save a little bit of money on healthcare. And we should use them for that purpose. But we can't pretend these people are our allies. They're just not. Just like my position with right-wingers, we just use them when they're politically expedient. Especially considering they're anything but educated on practical economic theory in most cases, also wildly ideological. I think my rant pretty much covered why the last part is stupid right there, but I don't think capitalists are allowed to criticize socialists when you got a system that crashes every 5 to 8 years. I don't think you're allowed to do that. That's just me. That's just me. So we saw the Yang Gang meltdown. My good friend Mandy had this meme. Because this sums up Yang Gang in a nutshell. Where you had Yang. He self-imploded his entire mayoral campaign with his comments on Israel-Palestine. Like, he was killing the game. Made that comment, fluke, and he fell. And now you got Yang Gang was like, why would progressives do this? But look, that was Stephen Miller that quote tweeted him. That was praising him. You guys did this. Because Yang is a politician who just wanted to say whatever it takes for him to take public office. If Yang was just take principled stances on these things, the left would like him. Like, there's no reason for Andrew Yang to take the route he had done. Like, even if Yang is a careerist, which I think he is, I think Yang should have tied himself with Bernie when he did it because he's a political opportunist. He wanted the job at CNN. He wanted to become a Democratic insider by endorsing Joe Biden. Because even though his UBI was flawed, there was nothing that was stopping Yang. And this is what I was telling Yang people at the time. I'm like, yeah, your UBI is flawed, but that's a good idea. So I'm with you. Let's make it better. Let's make your UBI better. And then you support universal health care. You become better on the issue of the police state and U.S. imperialism, and then we can work together. But for some reason, Yang Gang went to the right. They were like, we're going to go more libertarian right. And then they mad because we don't like them no more. That Yang is not getting the support of the progressive base. Like, this easily could have went the other way. Like, Yang could have easily pivoted to the left instead of the right, fixed the issues that we had with him, and then progressive probably would back them. Like, Yang was, imagine, and this is just hypothetical, imagine Yang was like, okay, I thought UBI was a good idea. I heard what you guys said the criticism of my UBI is, and how it's a way to actually ruin the welfare system and siphon wealth from public assistance to justify paying for UBI, and it's deeply regressive. But okay, I hear you. Let's make it progressive. Let's make it a better UBI where we don't put all those mean Texas garbage on it. By the way, stop saying Yang support UBI for New York. He does not. UBI is universal. This is what I'm talking about when I say Yang people don't even understand his platform. UBI means universal basic income. His basic income plan, not UBI in New York, is means tested. And then numbers show there's only like 6% of the New York population will only get like $190 a month. That's not a UBI. That's a basic income, but it's not universal. And it's trash, especially considering the cost of living in New York. So Yang people didn't even know his own platform. Like, I know Yang more than they do. And I know why Jackie disagreed with me. I get it. And Jackie's right. And that's the progressive criticism in the comments here when she said Yang's UBI was a means to defunding social programs. And that was the progressive criticism of Yang UBI. But Yang, and this is my point, because I think Yang is just a political opportunist. So if you're a political opportunist, the smart move for you to do, but he was a coward because he went the easy way. But the smart move him actually was to like, all right, let me pivot to the left. Let me endorse Bernie Sanders. Let me clean up these issues. Because Yang Gang, they thought he was more progressive than he was. But what if Yang became as progressive as they thought he was? And he could have been in a much better position. That's my point. But what Yang did, he wanted to be part of the insider party. He wanted to be a Democrat. And he took the easy way out. He miscalculated. He endorsed Biden, and he thought the Democrat Party would like him because of that. No, you are not part of their club. You didn't climb the ranks. You didn't do your due, so they would never like you, no matter how loyal you are. This is the message I send to the squad as well. So Yang thought if you played the Democrat Party game, they would be nice to him in the mayor race. But now what happened? You had the entire Democrat Party going after him. So this shows why Yang is an idiot with no political IQ, right? So Jackie and people that are to my left is right when they say Yang is trash. When they said we should even prefer him over Democrats, my response to that is that's now. It didn't have to be this way, because I think Yang just says wherever he believes will help him politically. So with that said, I think there's no reason why he shouldn't have calculated that moving left would help him out. So that's my stance on that. I appreciate everyone for watching. I appreciate everyone that came back, because I think I dropped. Some people dropped because I was going to end it, but I think I ended up doing 2 hours here. I wish, like, I should have invited Jackie on. I was about to have Jordan from Status Quo on, but I think we're going to get him on next time. We're going to reschedule that. So as you guys see, I love doing these solo shows. I used to do that on my old Twitch and YouTube. That used to be the progressive martial artist, but now socialist MMA, because I don't consider myself a progressive no more. I've been deeply disgusted by the progressive movement ever since Bernie Sanders dropped out. I named my channel back when I was a proud progressive. I shifted to the left. Now I kind of dropped the progressive martial artist name. Now it's just straight up socialist MMA on YouTube and on Twitch. And since I'm here, I mean, I have fun time doing this. And these are the kind of streams I usually do, are more interactive with the audience, and we can go through these stories, and we didn't finish that history lesson how I do. We do that next time, because I wanted to go through Palestinian history, Israel-Palestinian history. So hit the bell. I may do a stream Wednesday night. I don't want to get in the way of CJ or anyone's shows. So I may do another stream this week, because I still want to cover Israel-Palestine history. I want to cover the Columbia protests and police violence down over there. I want to cover Andrew Brown and the recent police shootings in America. I'm 2 hours in. I still didn't cover everything I wanted to cover. That's why I like doing these solo shows as well. Maybe next time I'll have I think Jackie. Me and Jackie will do a show. But me and Jackie will usually do Tuesday. I saw she was in the comment, but I just threw this show together last moment, so that's why she didn't join us today. That's the main reason. But maybe me and Jackie can do a stream sometime this week. Do it now. No, I'm tired, Jackie. I'm tired. I'm tired. Let's do it this week. No, you're not available weekend. What about Wednesday night, Friday night? We can do Wednesday or Friday night. I'm tired, guys. I did 2 hours. I'm running for 2 hours here. It's fun, though. It's fun. Yeah, 420 friendly. The thing is, I could get in trouble for that, but YouTube already suppresses our channel anyway. YouTube already demonetizes all my shit. So that's why I cuss, too. They already to suppress us and demonetize us, so I might as well have fun, right? I learned that through having my channel. No matter what I do, they have a lot of tips on how to make your videos more on the algorithm. But that's more for video game streamers and stuff, right? It doesn't work for politics, because they purposely throttle political content, and they throttle. I did a video when I got monetized on why American police emboldens white supremacy, and then I made that video, and I'm arguing that the police is part of that, and they demonetized it. So it's there's nothing I can do to make YouTube like us. So that's why I have fun on my stream. I try to clean up my language. I just get too engaged. I just get too passionate, right? Jackie, stop busting. Jackie is ruthless today. Thank you, Sam. You say you like the style of video and articles. Like having guests is actually new to me. Like I started having guests when I was on when we started for Him the Leftist. Jackie was a co-host on my show on my progressive martial artist show. I don't know who's calling me. Cambridge. I don't know who this is. Are you serious right now? That is him. Oh. Oh my God. Oh man, I am so excited for that, man. Because I don't know if you know, I'm like live right now, but this is actually incredible. No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. This is actually incredible. Yeah, this is Dr. Cornell West, guys. And I finally got. Well, I've been. It's been a joke among my friends, uh, Dr. West. I've been waiting to hear you call me Brother Nick for a long time. Oh my. Let me put you on speaker, man. This is actually incredible, man. Like you just made my entire you just made my entire week, man. Because I look up like I'm very open. I get my politics from you guys. Like you guys are my teachers, you guys are my mentors, the Black leftist leaders, man. So you saying that means a lot, and I'm looking forward because I got so many things I can talk to you about. Do you have a few minutes to go on Zoom? Oh, let's go. Let's go. Okay. I'm gonna send you let's see, how can I send you a Zoom invite here? Let me let's see. I'm gonna just send you I'm gonna send you an invite here. But I'll send you an invite. Yeah, okay. Just get okay. Yeah, man, this is super exciting. Super exciting, man. Let me get it together. I'm gonna try to send you this link, this invite. Give me 1 second. Like the funny things, I've been live for a while, but I definitely want to make some time for you. Let's get this going. Let's go invite, email. All right, I'll take you off speaker here so I can get your email. Hey guys, you see what's going on here, right? Stay with me 1 second, guys. Stay 1 second with me. We did get Cornell West on here. 1 second. Okay, guys, I hope you guys stay tuned. Let me get the teacher himself here. There he is, the man himself, Dr. Cornell West. Can you hear me?
Right?
Yeah, I hear you, brother. How you doing? Oh, let me.
Can you hear me all right, my brother?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Testing, testing, testing.
Yeah, can you hear me, Cornell West?
Testing.
Okay, guys, I hope you guys stay tuned. Let me get
video mute.
Get the teacher himself here. Here, 1 second.
No, no, I can't hear it though. Let me see. No, I can't hear.
1 second.
He's working it.
So, can you guys hear me? Can the audience hear me? I'm trying to see if the audience can hear me here. Man.
No, testing, testing, testing. No.
I think I'll create a new room. Let's see if I can get my friend Jackie here too.
Create a new room.
Can you guys hear me? So we've got to figure out the audio issues. So they can hear us. Okay, hold on. So I gotta figure out what that is. So they can hear both of us.
Oh, they can hear both of us?
Yeah, but you can't hear me.
But I just can't hear you. Yeah, but I can't. You can't hear me. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you for being patient.
No.
We appreciate it, man. So they can hear both of us. So let me unplug my earphones. Can you hear me now? Nope. So I'm gonna see. So 1 second. I think I'm gonna just create a new room, and maybe we should have Jackie on here. So dang, I wish I knew what was going on, because they both can hear us. Sound panel control if you're in Windows. Chat. Like, I'm really thinking I might just make a new room and then see if that can solve the problem. I'm not sure why we can't hear each other. Testing audio. So
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You can hear me now?
Yeah, I can
testing
hear you.
Testing audio. So I'm not. Okay, so it's echoing a little bit. You can hear me now? So I figured it out, but I think there's a little bit of echo. I forgot how to stop that.
No.
So you can hear me now, right?
You're working. I can definitely hear, but can you hear me all right, my brother?
Yeah, they hear the echo. I forgot how to fix that though. Yeah, this is a privilege. I appreciate you being so patient with me here.
No,
like I said,
man,
this came out of nowhere. So
I appreciate you being patient, man. No, Anahita told me, she said it would be wonderful to be able to just make connection with you. Then I got your number. I said, let me just call this brother and just let him know how much I salute him. Now, I didn't know I'd get a chance to see you. You know what I mean? That's even better, man.
Yeah, man.
That's even better.
Yeah, man. This is so. I think everything is fixed now. I think there's no echo. I think we both can hear each other. So
that's cool.
I mean, I want to start by saying this. I talk about on my show, like my political evolution. And if you talk to a lot of black leftists around my age, we have kind of the same story, right? The story is very similar. We become politically active starting around Barack Obama. Because I'm 30 now, so this is when around time I was in high school. So our expectations and our political interests started with Barack Obama. And then through that disappointment, that drags us to the left. And I talked to a lot of black leftists, that story is very similar. And the reason I bring that up is because your influence, and I bring this up all the time, your influence helped break that cognitive dissonance I had on Barack Obama. So what I want to ask you is, because I remember at the time, you got into heated debates with Michael Eric Dyson and a lot of other black liberals. And I remember that at the time, and I was watching, because I was very open to information. And when you made your initial criticism of Obama, I was like, what? It was like kind of a shock moment. But instead of doing what the neoliberals would do, where they would like lash out at you, I was like, all right, I'm interested in what he had to say. And then you helped peel me away from liking Obama. And that led me to the path of the left. So I want to ask you, like, how did it feel to navigate the minefield of criticizing Barack Obama at the time where he was almost untouchable in the black community?
No, I appreciate the question, brother. First, I just want to salute you, though, man, because you see, the bottom line is like, it's like James Brown on the stage, man. It's like Aretha behind the microphone. Are they going to be for real? They got integrity, man, and they tied to excellence. And so we have to look at ourselves, not through any white normative gaze, not through any corporate lens gaze in terms of what's on the media, but the best of our tradition. So the first time I had a long dialogue with Barack Obama, I told him, I said, brother, I'm going to look at you through the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Ella Baker. Because that's the standard. It's like if I pick up a horn and start playing the trumpet, man, I'm going to look at it through Louis Armstrong and Roy Eldridge and Miles Davis. You know what I mean? I want to know what are the great ones in our tradition. And so anything I said about Barack Obama in terms of drones being dropped, Martin would have said about Vietnam. Anything I said about Barack Obama in terms of tied to Wall Street, Ella Baker would have said that.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Fannie Lou Hamer would have said that in terms of his relation to counterterrorists, because she had a critique of the wars, not just in Vietnam, but in Korea and so forth and so on, because she looked at America as a critique, as an empire that needed to be criticized. C.L.R. James would be another towering figure. We want to go down to the Caribbean. So we got such a great tradition of a great people, man, that we got to keep it strong and pass it on to young brothers like you.
Absolutely.
Look at Fred Hampton, man. He talking about the rainbow before Jesse even thought about the rainbow, right? From the vantage point of the Black Panther Party, but he was coming out of a great tradition. He didn't get it by himself. Wonderful Mama, Huey Newton, Bobby Seale, Erica Huggins, Angela Davis, and so forth. Yes. That doesn't mean we all got to agree on everything, but we got to know what lens we look at the world and whether it's in light of the best of our tradition of the people who loved our people.
Yes.
That's the highest standards, you see. So that in that sense, I would go into Black communities and they say, Brother West, man, you ain't nothing but a trasher of Obama. We hate you. I said, look, I'm not loving you for you to love me. I love you because you're worthy of being loved.
Yes.
Black people are always worthy of being loved. They're just wrong sometimes. And that's what love is, right? When your mama loving you, respect, protect, and correct. Little Nick, you ain't acting right. Here's a little tough love. Am I right about what your mama said to you?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this love and this self-love from our community, this is why I would never apologize for strongly advocating for my community, no question asked.
Absolutely.
Because
you never allow anything to get in the way of love for your people. Now that means I could be wrong, you could be wrong, but somebody who loves us will correct. It ain't somebody who's trying to talk about my mama and trash my father. No, that's not the standard. You see what I mean? That's not the standard at all. And we can disagree. And I love a lot of people who supported Obama. I just thought they were too uncritical. But what happens over time, they begin to see things that they didn't see then. You'd be surprised the number of Black brothers and sisters come up to me now. Brother West, I call you everything but a child of God, man. I call you a dog, cockroach. Now I see what you were saying. And I tell them, I was loving you then, I'm loving you now. And your mama and daddy too. You see?
Yep.
That's exactly right. Because you want to be consistent.
You have to.
You want the consistency all the way through.
You have to be. And this self-love is kind of why I and this is why I've been a strong critic of the idea of the lesser of two evils, because I voted and I voted for Obama in 2012, and I started voting for Green Party in 2016 and 2020 because I just kind of want to get your thoughts on this. This is what I always tell people: when you buy into the argument of the lesser two evils, that's almost self-hate, because you are telling yourself that the suffering inflicted on your community by the ruling class is not that big of a deal. So if you go by that logic, so black people are only 13% of the population, right? So if you're just only looking at the concept of what's lesser evil, so you can always look at the white community, like, all right, there's a large amount of white people, large percent of Latinos, and you can look after them and not look at after our community, and we're supposed to give up all our political demands to parties without asking for anything, because that's what frustrates me the most, is that we are like the only people who are forced to be loyal to the Democrat Party and not expect anything. And I'm very happy when people of other communities get legislation that helps them out. I stand with solidarity with all the communities. But I mean, you had anti-Asian violence. That was like something that Democrats snapped on immediately. But we can't even get a proper response to police violence. Meanwhile, they want to fund the police even more just by our protests. So this is kind of what my mindset on that. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
You know, I think we got to be jazz-like, though, brother, which means that you have to be willing to preserve your integrity, but still be sensitive to context. And I give you an example that, I mean, if you're going to have a fascist takeover in the country, which means that brothers like you and I, you know, we just get thrown into jail and disappear, like what happened in Chile, what happened in India and so forth, what's happening right now in Israeli jails when it comes to Palestinians and so forth, that when you have authoritarian or fascist elements beginning to take over, then the issue of lesser evil does present itself, because you're part of an anti-fascist coalition. And that anti-fascist coalition doesn't consist solely of folk like you and I. You got some liberals in there who are milquetoast, spineless, and a lot of other things on other issues, but they're part of an anti-fascist coalition.
Yeah, I hear you.
You see what I mean? So that on that issue of whether they're anti-fascist, you even got somebody like Liz Cheney. Now, you know, Liz Cheney been right-wing, wrong, cold, callous, indifferent, and so forth, but she's fighting against fascists in her own party. So all of a sudden, she looks heroic. She looks like, oh God, Liz Cheney's got tremendous integrity. How come? She's opposing fascism in her party. She is. And in that sense, she would be somebody who would be part of an anti-fascist coalition on the right wing. You and I be anti-fascist coalition on the left wing. And in that sense, you might end up voting for lesser evil in that context. Yeah. Only because that one vote might be the one thing to push the fascists out long enough for leftists like you and I to try to stretch out and then push the country in a very different direction.
Yeah.
And that does make a difference.
Absolutely.
I mean, it would be like if the Klan came into the black community and said that, you know, they're going to start lynching folk across the board if you and I did X or Y. And at that point, I said, Brother Nick, man, we got to steal away. And, you know, I'm a Christian, so I got Jesus with a little cognac on the side. And I don't know, you might have a little coffee or something, drink, and say, you know what? We might have to hold off on this speech tonight and not tell the full truth, because if we do, they're going to start lynching some of these precious black folk, including some of our cousins and mothers and fathers, because the Klan had that much power in a little southern town. You see, now in that sense, people say, oh, it's a lesser evil. I say, yeah, that's right. Lesser evil for my mama, lesser evil for Jamal, lesser evil for Letitia, lesser evil for Roosevelt. I don't want them lynched. I don't have the power to stop the Klan. The speech that you and I were going to give that could serve as a catalyst for the Klan, we don't have the power to stop the Klan. So in that instant, we're going to say, okay, we're going to steal away, brother. We ain't going to say certain things. And Malcolm understood that when he went down south to Selma, you remember?
Yeah.
We went down to Selma, and Martin's in jail, and he was talking to Coretta Scott King, and he said, Coretta, I know I said some harsh things about Martin, but he is really my brother, and I know that I've got to watch some of the things I say because it would lead toward a reaction of these Klans, neo-fascists in Alabama that could overcome and push against the wall some of my own Black brothers and sisters. So in that sense, context makes a difference, but he preserved his integrity, which is to say, you then tell the truth about why you didn't say something at the moment, because it had to do with the love for the people. Because the love was always deeper than everything.
Yeah, I absolutely respect that position, 100%. And what I do want to ask you, because as a young activist, and I'm very anti-state violence. I've seen that's a problem that go through our community, and you see what the U.S. empire is sponsoring as well in Colombia and Israel, Palestine. When I see this state violence, it really tears my heart up, and I really want to do something about it. So my question to you, I 100% respect your stance, and that's why I never get upset when I see people like disagree with my stance on voting and legislative. Because I think you got to vote your conscience. I think you got to do what you think is right. So what I want to ask you is, like, what do you think is the best mechanism for someone who's a young person of color, someone who's a disenfranchised community that is a victim of policies that people like Liz Cheney support? I mean, Liz Cheney stands up to Trump, but it's like she's still a hardcore trickle-down economic war criminal of Republican.
Cold, callous, indifferent, supporting white supremacist police, Wall Street, the different ugly terrorizing of folk in the West Bank and other places. Absolutely. AFRICOM in Africa, the wrong side in Haiti, the dictators rather than the people in Haiti and so forth. You're absolutely right. I would say this about you though, brother. When I say this in all honesty, man, that in the end, the best of Black people has always been what you aspire to, which is be real, be honest, have integrity, decency, honesty, and a willingness to serve. That's the bottom line, you see. And that's crucial, Brother Nick, because if we don't keep this tradition alive, my brother, we're going to end up with all of these sellouts, all of these folk well-adjusted to injustice. We're going to end up with these folk parading around. They so successful and ain't got nothing to do with greatness, because greatness is always defined in terms of how deep is your love, how much sacrifice you make. What are you willing to pay for justice? What are you willing to pay for your struggle? That's what greatness is. See, a whole lot of folk are success. The white power structure has a whole lot of successful Black peacocks walking around strutting. Look at me, look at me. You say, no, we come from a people that say peacock strut because they can't fly. You see, you know the jam by Commodores called Zoom, Zoom. I like to fly away. Well, I like to fly away. Well, I like to fly away. Zoom, Zoom, baby. Now that's Ronald and Lionel from Tuskegee, Alabama. And that's the anthem of a lot of the brothers in the prison. I've taught in prison for 41 years. That's the anthem. Now, what is that? It's a freedom dream. The great Robin Kelly in his book, Freedom Dreams. You know that great text, powerful text. It's a freedom dream. You're trying to fly, not like a peacock can't fly too high because they're too tied to the gravity of the status quo. I don't care how big your crib is in Martha's Vineyard. You're still a peacock. I don't care how big your house is on this side of Chicago. You're still a peacock. The great Black people have been the eagles who could fly with nobility and look low in the lives of everyday people and say, I am committed to you. My freedom dream doesn't include just my individual success. It includes everybody. That's what Martin King and Malcolm. That's why you got the right name with Fred Hampton, man. Fred Hampton paid the ultimate price. He gave everything, every fiber of his being for his love of his people. You got the right model, man. I'm telling you.
And we chose Fred Hampton, and he's just one of many people. And this is my co-host Jackie.
My dear sister, how you doing there?
Hello, I'm doing well, thank you.
Good to see you. It's a blessing to set eyes on you. It's a blessing to set eyes on Brother Nick. But I see y'all the dynamic duo here. That's wonderful.
Yeah, man. That's like we got together because we wanted to spread this black leftist movement because like I watch all my independent I watch a number of independent media. I can't stand corporate news. It's crazy propaganda.
I know what you mean.
But you're not getting a black leftist perspective from a lot of different very, very popular shows. And I like a lot of these shows. Like I watch nothing but these programs. That's why we started the show, and that's kind of why we named ourselves after Fred Hampton, because we really do believe in that ideology. We really do believe in black liberation. So I kind of want to ask you, because the first op-ed I wrote about how unfortunately the black community abandoned the revolutionary roots. Meaning once again we named ourselves after Fred Hampton. We got a long lineage of African American socialists and people who had class solidarity and who was anti-war. And we went from that to black capitalists. We have Eric Adams, who's running in New York, who supports stop and frisk, for example. So I feel like we've been betrayed, and I'm speaking as a younger black man. I feel like we've been betrayed by black leadership. And that's why I look up to you, because you're one of the people that are fighting against that. So what do you think of the black leaders that we have right now? Where do you think they went wrong? And do you think they're leading us off a cliff? Because that's how I would define it. Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. And again, I want to salute both of you all. I'm gonna get Sister Jackie in on this salute right here. Absolutely. But I think you got to, for me, there's three things you want to keep in mind. One is that in a white supremacist civilization, black love is a crime. And they try to teach black people that black history is a curse and black freedom's a pipe dream and black hope's a joke, so that folk are going to be accommodating themselves because they're afraid, they intimidated, and they think they can only choose the options that are presented to them. That's why the freedom dreams are crucial, right? Now, what happened was in the 60s and 70s, the great black freedom fighters, most of them were either assassinated or incarcerated. That's how vicious the system is. They will kill you, or they'll lie about you. And so folk will stay away, or they will incarcerate you. So you got a small slice who were not killed and were not incarcerated. And so the question becomes, would they be co-opted, which is incorporated in the mainstream, you see, or would they still tell the truth basically alone? And we got both, but that second group, tell the truth alone, a little small group.
Yeah,
it really is. It's a little
is.
small. That's how vicious white supremacy is under predatory capitalism with its patriarchy and homophobia. And people don't like to talk about how vicious their repression is. But y'all lifting up Fred Hampton, they let you know. These are gangsters who will shoot somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning with his wife. It doesn't get more gangster than that. You know what I mean? And I've said that as a Christian. People say, oh, you hate. No, I hate injustice. You say, I ain't hating no individual persons in terms of them being like that forever. Nobody's a gangster forever. Everybody could change. But that's gangster activity when you have the police representing the establishment of Chicago treating my brother like that. And we got to be honest about that, see? And that's how you keep that legacy alive. Because what happens is that once you either kill the folk like Martin and Malcolm and them, or Fred, or Bobby Hutton, we can go on and on, or you get incarcerated like Mumia Abu-Jamal. And Mumia Abu-Jamal, you know, his articles ought to be in every household, especially in the Black community. Not because you agree with everything, but he's a truth teller on death row. Yes. Now, what does that mean? That means he's freer when he's on death row than Obama was in the White House. He's a freer Black man. His love of Black people is not crushed. Now, I'm not saying Obama has no love, but he's tight. He got all these constraints, and he got check and see what Wall Street think. Check and see what the Pentagon think. Check and see what corporate media think. Check and see what CNN think. Check and see what the MSNBC think. And by the time you get out, I mean, it's like Curtis Mayfield sounded like Pat Boone. Curtis was free. Pat Boone's all tight and he trying to get his audience in place to make millions of dollars, which he would. He gonna make $50 million. Curtis gonna make just a few dollars compared to that. But Curtis is a free man and he's a genius and he's a black man with dignity. Nina Simone the same way. Nina Simone ain't gonna do no Dorothy Day thing. That Dorothy Day gonna do her deodorized, sanitized, sterilized stuff. She gonna keep the funk real. She ain't gonna fake it. That's Nina. That's Aretha. Those are the models for us as freedom fighters, on you all as writers and in the media. And that's where you come from. At your best, never forget where you come from.
Yes,
you
and
see what I mean?
That's so important. That's exactly what we
crucial.
Talk about. So important. That's why we honor people like Fred Hampton. That's why we talk about Black intellectuals all the time, because there's a lot of people that talk about theory, and theory is amazing, listening to Marx, Lenin, all that stuff. But to me, like when I listen to Malcolm X and when I read W.B. Du Bois, that's my theories, the Black revolutionary leaders. And what W.B. Du Bois said tied into the phenomenon that we just talked about now. We have some people decided they want to be revolutionaries. Some people decided they want to join the establishment. The people who decided to be revolutionaries, they're the people who was killed, like Fred Hampton. And W.B. Du Bois wrote about this decades and decades ago. He literally called it out. He said there's been a class structure, and I'll quote him from his book, Socialism in the American Negro. He said, a class structure began to arise within the Negro group, which produced haves and have-nots, intended to encourage the more successful Negroes, now we're talking about the Barack Obamas, for instance, to join the forces of monopoly and exploitation to help victimize their own classes and any other lower classes that were possible. We also talking about Kamala Harris as well here. To remedy, and this is the last part, to remedy the situation, these Negroes still regarded their first step towards emancipation as being political power. This came from W.B. Du Bois. He's talking about Kamala and Barack Obama. They see their way of freeing themselves with the system of white supremacy is joining it. So this is what me, Jackie, and us at Fred Hampton Leftists is starting to call out, because unfortunately it's harder for our white allies to do that, because it's super easy for liberals to smear them as racist. So we take it upon ourselves to educate our brothers and sisters about our revolutionary leaders instead of the black capitalists and the black imperialists like Barack Obama. But I want to throw the Jackie here.
That's very important. But the other thing to keep in mind, though, is when you look at towering figures like W.B. Du Bois, Mary Baraka, James Baldwin, Gwendolyn Brooks, the great poet. Early in their careers, they were the darling of the white establishment. See, so their critiques are also self-critiques. They grew. See, when Du Bois wrote Souls of Black Folk, he wasn't no socialist. He was a liberal. He still had his genius, but he hadn't made his leftist turn. You see what I mean? When he told black people to support Woodrow Wilson, dead up white supremacists, hey, WB, what's going on? Garvey would say, what's wrong with Du Bois? Something wrong with Du Bois. This is a Keith Sweat moment. Something just ain't right. Garvey was right about that. But then a few years later, here comes Du Bois, the socialist. He is a communist, right? He's growing all the time. His critiques are deepening all the time. Baraka's the same way. He down in Greenwich Village, hanging out with the Bohemians. He ain't got no strong critique of white supremacy. He ain't got no strong critique of capitalism. Then Malcolm gets shot. He moves uptown, become a black nationalist for 7 years. Then he becomes a leftist, a revolutionary communist later on. But all of it still ties a certain kind of love. And that's what makes them great. Gwendolyn Brooks, the same way. You read her early poetry. She's very much mainstream poetry, only talking about European poets. She's a genius now. But then she meets Aki Mahabute. She meets Sonia Sanchez. Oh, things getting deep. And what does she say? I'm 50-some years old. I'm going with the Black Arts movement. I tell the white establishment, kiss my so and so. That's Gwendolyn Brooks. That's greatness. Baldwin was a darling of the white liberals in New York City. He broke with them and sided with the Black Panther Party, wrote the open letter to Angela Davis. He got all kind of enemies and foes, his former friends. Same is true these days on the issue of Palestine. Look at all these black folk running around scared, intimidated, acting like somehow they free. No, they are thoroughly intimidated because they don't want to tell the truth about the suffering of Palestinians. Why? because the mainstream means they're going to have to pay, says they're going to have to pay a cost. They're going to pay a major cost if you tell the truth about Palestinian suffering. Ain't no doubt about it. So they can't say a critical word about Israel. And you say, oh, it's clear, you're not truth tellers. Go on and get your money. Line up and get your money. Line up and get your status. Line up and get your position, because you're not telling the truth. And you can tell that truth without in any way being anti-Jewish, without being anti-Semitic. Nobody won't be anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic. We come from a loving people, but we love Palestinians just as much we love Jews, just as much we love anybody else, you see. And see, that's another kind of challenge when it's a taboo issue. Who's willing to tell the truth about the suffering hidden by that taboo? And again, here come Fred Hampton. I mean, he's not all alone, but he's part of that cloud of witnesses. You know what I mean? Here come Erica Huggins. Oh, Lord.
I love hearing you talk because I feel like I go to school every single time. I actually was introduced to you because I'm a huge nerd. I was introduced to you in The Matrix. and
Is that right?
Matrix
Reloaded. Wachowskis, my beloved Wachowskis. Yeah.
Yeah. I that movie came out when I was in my early 20s, which is right in your like philosophical phase. So I was reading like Ken Wilber, and I had heard of Cornel West, but I had never actually seen you until I was like, that's him. So it was like my love of movies and philosophy combined.
That's beautiful.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about how, Nick was talking about how mainstream media doesn't like to have, the perspective that we have on the air, but somehow you seem to punch through. Why do you think it is that they allow you to speak, even though you can bring Anderson Cooper to tears just about every time you go on there?
Yeah, and I really don't know, my dear sister. I really don't know. I think part of it is that I do have a history, very much like the figures I talked about before. Mm-hmm. I have a history of having some relations with folk in establishment positions. See, having gone to Harvard and taught at Princeton for 20-some years, taught at Harvard for 15 years and so forth, that a lot of my students who come through my classes, who don't necessarily agree with me, but they have some connection with me, some of them are in positions of power. History. So they say, okay, well, Professor West, we know he's pretty far out there and so forth, but I liked his class and he seemed to be a decent brother. So we can at least allow him on. Now, of course, when it comes to being a part of the apparatus, and of course, I refuse. I will never accept a penny from any corporate media entity, because I'm a Jesus-loving free Black man, and I'm going to say exactly what I want to say. Once they start paying you, then all of a sudden you got constraints, you see. But the very fact that they still ask me surprises me and others sometimes, but I think it's because I've had this history of some relation to it. The other side, though, I think is that for some people, my Christian faith puts me in a certain kind of moral spiritual zone. So it says, well, he says some of the things that are others would say much more harshly and with a certain sense of intensity and even revenge, whereas he as a Christian reminds us a little bit of that love language. And
this meeting is being recorded. The recording has stopped.
Oh, is that continue? And the love language could be a language that somehow attenuates some of the harshness. But I'm just speculating right now, though,
I think that's actually probably a fair assessment, because I couldn't be as calm as you. I can promise you that. You are the definition of level-headed and equally measured. I can't.
But then with my righteous indignation comes out even on TV sometimes, you know what I mean?
True, but you have a way of doing it that is both professional and intellectual, and seems like you wouldn't dare stoop to the level of like low level, like guttural